What's up everybody, this is Shubham from Dark Army and today I'm going to talk about some of the myths related to mobile app development. So while doing research on this topic, I found some of the links which contain some of the generic myths related to mobile app development. I'd post those links down in the description, so make sure you check them out. So today I'm going to talk about some of the myths which I came across as a developer over the last few years. And the first myth I'm going to talk about today is iOS and Android developers are paid the same. Now this is completely false. Most of the times I've seen is that iOS developers are paid much higher than the Android developers. Now there are multiple reasons for this. First being Android developers are a lot in numbers as compared to iOS developers, like a lot. Or just because iOS developers can afford the initial investment of getting a Mac. What's actually needed to be an Android developer? A $400 PC, a $100 Android phone for testing, a $25 lifetime developer account. What's needed to be an iOS developer? A $1,000 Mac, a $700 iPhone to test, maybe a $1,000 iPad to test, a developer account which costs you $99 a year. I mean, what else should I say? From there we go on to a second myth, and that is Android and iOS apps take the same time to develop. And this is completely false. I can't really say what takes more time. It's just that I've observed that even though sometimes both take the same time for development, Android app takes more time in testing and therefore it goes through multiple revisions before it's actually put onto the store. Google does not have strict review guidelines, and that makes amateur app developers not think about various things. For iOS app, there are so many review guidelines that even if you finish your development earlier, it might get rejected multiple times from the app review process. And from there we go on to a third myth, and that is you can instantly release an app once done development. What I mean to say here is once you upload your app to the store, it is instantly available everywhere, and this of course is false. Google Store takes 2 to 3 hours to put the app on the store. Apple's App Store review takes around 1 to 2 days mostly, but it's not predictable. Even though your app is accepted, it might actually take some time for it to be available over all the territories. In case you're wondering, there is an option for scheduled availability, but you might need to keep 1 day in advance because it's not available in all the territories when you schedule it. From there we move on to our fourth myth, and that is cross-platform apps. Is it a boon or a bane? This is not really a myth but a big question. This question has been there from a long time and many have failed to give a proper answer, so I'll break it up for you guys. I surely would say it's a bane. There were platforms which use C# to view the elements inside a web view which were not native elements. Then came React Native, which used a bridger for JavaScript to Objective-C, which used native elements inside the views. You won't notice a difference while using a React Native app, but under the hood it's taking a lot more memory than the natively built apps. I personally used React Native for a while and I realized that you have to write a load of code to just make some simple elements like a navigation bar or some more buttons. What I'm trying to say here is if you have the option of going native, then please go native. And the fifth myth is for the iOS developers out there, and that is Swift makes your app run faster. Now this is one of the biggest myths in the iOS developer community. Using Swift in your app does not make it faster than using Objective-C in your app. They run at the same speed and they almost take the same amount of memory. Using Swift is much easier than using Objective-C if you know it already, but nothing points out to the fact that Objective-C or Swift runs faster than the other. I'd say gone are the days when you won't find an answer for a Swift related question on Stack Overflow. So anyone who is deciding for a language for their new app, I'd say go with Swift. Unless you have a lot of modules in your app, and developing some libraries in Swift might take a lot of time. In that case, I'd say check with what's available in Swift or go with Objective-C. Well, for learners who want to learn iOS development at this time, I'd say go with Swift. I couldn't have said this like a year ago, but now Swift has been pretty stable and I'd say go with it. And that's all for this video. If you have any of your own myths, please write them down in the comments down below. Make sure you like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. My name is Shivam and meet you guys later.